Okay, well, we're wrapping up this lesson on simplifying expressions. But what's the worst thing in math? Isn't it when you listen to the lesson and then you go to do your assignment and you feel like you have no idea what you're supposed to do on the assignment? Yeah, I hate that. And so in order to help you feel like you know what's going to be on the assignment and you know how to do the assignment, I'm including this little video on some homework examples. So these are some examples of things that you might see on your assignment coming up. So here's an example of a problem you might see on your assignment. We're asked to simplify this expression that's modeled below. So let's do that first. First of all, before we simplify it, let's figure out what this expression is. So we have 3x tiles, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negative x tiles, so that's negative 8x. We have 2 1 tiles and 1 negative 1 tile. So our expression is 3x minus 8x plus 2 minus 1. So this is the expression that we're being asked to simplify. Now if I want to use the tiles to help me simplify, I would find 0 pairs and cancel them out because 0 pairs add up to 0. Okay, and here's a 0 pair. Okay, now what am I left with? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative x tiles, so negative 5x, and I'm left with 1 x tile. So using the tiles, the simplified version of this equation is negative 5x plus 1. Okay, now let's look at this expression and do it without the tiles. Okay, so if I wanted to simplify this expression without tiles, I'd look at the x values, and I have 3 x's minus 8 x's. So how many x's does that leave me with? 3 minus 8 is negative 5. So then I would have negative 5 x's, and then I look at my numbers. I have a positive 2 and a negative 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, so either way I got the same answer. It just might be helpful for you to know how to do it without tiles since you probably won't have tiles on your assignment, right? Okay, so this is the simplified version of that expression. Now we're asked to evaluate this expression for x equals 4. So my expression is negative 5x plus 1, and I want to evaluate it when x is 4. So I'm going to substitute a 4 in for x. Anytime I do any substituting, you want to put that number in parentheses, just so you can keep your signs straight. Okay, we have a negative 5 times a positive 4. When they're right next to each other, that means we multiply. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20 plus 1. Negative 20 plus 1 is negative 19. So when we evaluate it for x equals 4, we get negative 19. Okay, let's look at another problem. This one we're asked to simplify the expression. Notice there's no tiles, so we just need to do this all by hand. In order to simplify, I need to know what I'm working with. And these parentheses are kind of disguising how many x's and how many 1 tiles that I have. So I need to get rid of the parentheses first. And parentheses mean distribute. Whatever number is out in front is multiplied by everything on the inside. So I'm going to do 1/2 times 8, 1/2 times a negative 2. 1/2 times 8, well, that's half of 8. So that's 4 x's. Then I have 1/2 times a negative 2. So half of negative 2 is negative 1. Okay, so if you're picturing your tiles, picture 8 x's and 2 negative 1 tiles, and we take half of those. So that leaves us with 4 x's and a negative 1. And then we still have plus 12 out here outside of the parentheses. So now let's simplify. X's, we just have 4x. So 4x is how many x's we have. And then our numbers, we have a negative 1 and a positive 12. So negative 1 plus 12 is positive 11. So 4x plus 11 is a simplified form of this expression. Okay, one more example, I think, or do I have two? Oh, I have two more. Okay, on this one, we're asked to explain the mistake that was made in simplifying the expression. Okay, so we went from this expression, and then we simplified and got this bottom one. But there was a mistake that was made, so let's see if we can figure out what it was. So we have 4 times the quantity 2x plus 1. And then we somehow got 8x plus 1. So if you want to use the tiles for this one, that would be a good idea. You could draw them out on a piece of paper, but I'm going to do it just by hand. So the steps to simplifying would be we need to distribute to get rid of the parentheses. So we would do 4 times 2x and 4 times 1. 4 times 2x is 8x, so that's where the 8x came from. That's great. And then 4 times 1 is 4. Oh, not 1. Okay, so there's the mistake, right? We forgot to multiply the 1 by the 4 as well. That's a common mistake that students make, is we forget to multiply everything inside the parentheses by the number out in front. So the mistake was we didn't multiply the 1 and 4. Okay, last example. Evaluate the expression negative 2x plus 7 when x is equal to 0. So we have this expression here, and when x equals 0, we want to know what this will evaluate to. So anytime there's an x, we want to substitute in a 0. So put a 0 in anytime you see an x. Okay, when two numbers are right next to each other like this, it means multiply. So we have negative 2 times 0, that is 0, plus 7. 0 plus 7, hopefully you don't need a calculator for that one, is 7. So that would be my answer. We evaluate this expression for 0 and we get 7. Okay, so those are examples from your homework. Go ahead and get started on your assignment and see how it goes.